All right, welcome to Immediate Review, where we see a movie in theaters and review it immediately. We just saw Nurse Practitioner Rest. Doctor Sleep.
Yeah. we just saw Stanley Kubrick's Dr. Sleep. We're going to let Matt go. Matt is the resident Stephen King expert. And, he's read both books, seen both movies now. And, we're going to let him chime in on what he thinks first.
Okay, first off, I was going into the movie, and I was concerned that they were going to rely heavily on Kubrick's film to influence this movie, which they did, and in some aspects I really appreciated it in some ways. They peppered in the music in appropriate times and things like that, but there was just a stronger sense of the book throughout the middle portion, I guess. And then they just kind of bookended in some Kubrick in there with some vague Stephen King references.
Okay.
We'll get to that.
I'm being positive.
Okay.
Do it to it.
The subject material was fairly close to the book, except for the ending, which I did not like whatsoever.
What's the ending? Just tell us how it ends in the book.
In the end of The Shining.
No, well, we know that, but tell us how Dr. Sleep ends.
Okay. At the end of Dr. Sleep, Dan and Abra become, a happy family, and
that's so Stephen King.
Okay. Pull it back a little. How do they defeat her? Because they obviously don't fight her at the Overlook. Is it exactly the same? They're just somewhere else?
They're at the Overlook. There is no Overlook.
They're just
campground. Right. So they're at the site of the building.
And he does unleash some of the ghosts that have been in his mind all of his life, but it's like two. It's the lady in the bathtub and Horace Derwent.
Now it's like that. Go on.
Yeah, and they totally changed it. They were like, oh yeah, the ghosts are like beating on them, and that was never part of the story ever. And they just kind of added that in there.
Interesting.
The ghosts are different entities. They're just trying to latch on to things, and they see people with a shine like a beacon in the darkness, whereas the True Knot are eating or basically cannibalizing their own kind.
Huh.
They're the psychic equivalent of a vampire.
Yeah, that's what I got from them.
In terms of just as a book fan, what'd you love, what'd you hate?
I liked the connection that they had between Dan and Abra. That was very prevalent in the book. You could definitely tell that Stephen King was going through a sobriety phase, because there's quite a bit of Alcoholics Anonymous in there, and that's through the story.
Which is fine. He's using his art to express his struggle. That's cool.
I'm cool with that.
Like key moments in the film where they could have gone one way and it would have been a lot better, especially if they'd stayed more true to the subject matter. They kind of went off on their own, and it just didn't make sense to me, and it was hard to follow at times. So, in all, they followed the story, but they definitely took a good amount of artistic license.
Really?
I'd say about 70% content, 30% just other stuff.
Yeah, that's a better rating than you gave The Shining.
Do you got any I don't know, like
if you have
things he really loved about it that just like
jumped
out of the book?
They did not shy away from the gruesome child murder that is very
Jacob Tremblay killed it. He did a great job. Yeah.
That was intense.
That was one of the best
scene,
scenes in the movie.
I'm like not rooting for a child to get brutally murdered, but I'm like, okay, that is.
You were rooting for a child. I heard you going in. If they don't have child murder, I'm gonna hate the movie.
I did say that, so you gotta hold me to it.
Can't sneak past me, man.
I think they kind of the True Knot themselves. They kind of just glaze over what they are and how ancient of beings they are, basically.
Yeah, I didn't really understand much of their plight. It just seemed kind of like they just ramble on and kill people to survive and just kind of scavenge
Well, they
and
kill,
don't really have a
they-
purpose.
Shiners.
They
Well,
steal the shine.
You know,
Shining
obviously, I'm
gypsies.
just saying people as a,
But
shiners.
they themselves were people with gifts, with shining gifts, and
They're still people. Okay,
Gypsy.
continue.
and most of them, if you notice, the older ones, they kind of like Dan. They keep a talent into adulthood, whereas when they're kids, they're just like off the scale, powerful in many different fields. But as they grow older, you see that they either specialize in one particular talent or their abilities just go away completely.
So I tried to read Doctor Sleep. I got about 100 pages in and I
Did it put you
stopped.
to sleep?
No, it just I guess yes, but it was about the 30th time I read the word teeny town where I was kind of done with it. I don't know. It was just one of those things where I was like, this doesn't feel creepy. I'm not enjoying it. Like, I was kind of forcing myself to read it, and the movie's coming out soon, so I was like, whatever. But, so, my point is, though, what I did read, I thought the movie poorly adapted. Like, Dick Halloran's backstory with his grandpa glazed over in some quick exposition. And they sugarcoat it also. They don't go into, like, the molestation and all that.
Right.
And, also, Snakebite, they kind of don't explain her backstory and motivation at
she's
all.
not supposed to be 15. She's supposed to be of age.
Yeah,
Because,
dude!
She's like totally in a three-way with Crow Daddy.
I know, and I was like,
that chick,
why
and I
did
was
they
like,
make
why did
her
they change that?
15? That's weird. And so, like,
I mean, that's a big part of her character from hating men.
It's socially relevant sex trafficking.
so,
But she didn't have any sex.
but I just find it odd
It's the
that,
implication,
She's the
Hampton.
superhero.
No, I thought that was a boat.
but, yeah, it's, I just thought from the 100 pages I read, I thought the movie poorly adapted those 100 pages, so I'm glad to hear that you think it kind of pulled through eventually.
One thing I do like is how they kind of reprise Kubrick's film by actually burning the fucking hotel down for once.
They don't reprise Kubrick's film, they reprise the book.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, they did that, and that was kind of like a nod to like, yeah,
They
they're
retconned
finally doing
Kubrick's
that.
film.
Yeah, they ended it. Yeah,
Which is, they almost did it scene for scene from the book The Shining. What Dan did
I noticed that.
after,
Yep,
and
yep.
I was like, okay.
yeah, I noticed that.
So, yeah, it was heavy Shining in there. Yeah,
All right, well,
it was
Good.
definitely The Shining, the sequel.
any general thoughts before we pass it on?
It was a decent film. It's it is what it is. I liked it.
Okay. So I had mixed hopes for this movie. When I first saw the trailer the very first time, I was like blown away. I was like, what the fuck? I haven't seen cinematography like this in like 40 years. That being said, as more is discovered about the movie, you kind of find out that they're purposefully just mimicking Kubrick's style in a majority of the shots. This movie suckles on the spittle that comes out of Kubrick's dick. All right, every
If Kubrick-
chance that it fucking has, it does a Kubrick shot in some regard. Like I honestly feel like the shots are either standard, like cinematography, or they're trying to mimic Kubrick. There are close-up face shots, snap zooms, fucking full building pans with Steadicam. Like it is, and the sound design as well. Like everything that it does is trying to pull on the coattails of The Shining, and the trailers didn't shy away from that. And I honestly kind of appreciate that more. I'm glad that it was just like, hey, come see Stanley Kubrick's Dr. Sleep, rather than, we're going to make a movie that's Stephen King and then just smear your face with it. Of just like, guess what? Here's a bunch of Kubrick shit, And yeah, I will say some of the stuff was better than I expected. There were some shots that were creepy and had, like, I got goosebumps and whatnot for them. They talked about the scene with the kid being murdered. Excellent fucking shots. Really, really well done and was creepy. But the bad and the just blatant mimicry that comes from how they shot this just made it not great for me at all. I really didn't have I more made fun of the movie watching it than actually enjoying it.
I was surprised that Stephen King went forward with the movie because of how much he dislikes the film that Kubrick made, to the extent that he made his own miniseries later. But this movie is so heavily influenced by Kubrick's film that he would be like, oh yeah, green light. The vehemence, I guess, in old age is kind of simmering down.
Well,
Money probably helps.
yeah, I was just going to say, that's one thing. And another thing is, I think he likes you mentioned burning down the house. Like, I think that gives him some sort of closure with the story.
No, I saw that, and it transported me back to the end of the novel where Danny has that moment with his dad, where his dad's like, no, I'm not going to kill my son. And the Overlook's like, I'm going to kill you, and then I'm going to kill him. And then he's like, but what about the boiler? Oh, shit. Gotcha. Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
You were talking about suckling Kubrick. You liked some things,
Okay,
didn't like
so-
other cinematography.
So the next bit I want to talk about is the sound design, just in my own general analysis. We'll talk about it more in depth later. But the sound design is so simplistically formulated. Like, it is literally, they'll have a sound, a build-up swell, or they'll just have something be ridiculously loud out of nowhere and, hit you with, like, a standard jump scare. But it's not like it's like they'll do something standard, like, all the forks or spoons that were up on the ceiling, when they all drop, it all hits, and it's like, fucking these spoons weigh fucking 4 tons. Yeah. And it just does that a lot, where it'll just take the volume up to fucking full peak and just, like, hit you with a ton of sound. And that's really, like, what the sound design does. Like, and of course it had fucking, the same soundtrack as The Shining. It reprised the same shit. But yeah, it really it didn't try to really be anything more. And yeah, it's definitely not gonna fit into, like, the echelon of, like, the Shawshank Redemption or Green Mile or anything like that. It doesn't compare at all. But it did do a good job with, like, explaining to somebody who, like me, who hasn't read the book, about what The Shining is, the different abilities that it has. It delivered exposition about it in a way that was believable, either delivering it to a child.
What's
or
the main evil woman's name? I'm terrible.
Maybe Rose the Hat.
Rose the Hat.
yeah.
That's right. She was great.
Yeah.
And when she delivered exposition, it ruled.
Yeah, they did a great job, and they did a good job of, like, explaining certain exposition to a child, and like, that's what I like about a lot of, like, anime and whatnot, is they'll have a character that will be stupid, and that character is literally there so that the people who aren't as smart at catching on to how things work can have something explained to them. And so they did that a good way with the kids. And then the other way they did it was having her essentially have these, like, premonitions, or this foresight, essentially, and then letting people know through warnings of, like, oh, we've got a looker, things like that. So there were certain parts and powers that The Shining had that we didn't know about at all from the original Shining, that they delivered to us in a very easily digestible way that didn't feel cringy, and I appreciated that.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, and
And-
not just places, but people. Completely different villain than from the original book and movie.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that it did a great job at displaying power scale and, like, how the different levels of, like, Shining that essentially people have, and like, how that affects other people who have the Shining. Did a really good job of that. The kid felt genuinely powerful in this. Like, you know, even with the chick, but
Had like a precocious, like 10 years smarter than she should be kind of thing.
yes,
Like,
though
which
That's
works.
because of her shine.
No. I mean that in a good way. Like, it worked for the character and totally made sense. It's not
didn't-
like Shyamalan where it's just like kids talk like robots for some
yeah,
reason. But
and,
go
and,
on.
and she was written like that. I don't think she acted it as well as, like, you know, some of the kids from like the first It Chapter 1, you know, Stranger Things, like those kids are on another level.
She was a little Disney at times, but I thought for the most part she did.
No,
a good
yeah,
job.
she did good as a lead kid. Fuck yeah, she did great. Yeah, there's like, fuck, I forgot where I was going with it.
Sorry. You were talking about how the cult aspect, how they did a good job establishing the rules between them, and how the actress did a good job of displaying power dynamics.
Okay, yeah. So the powers, whoever edited this had 3 effects that he just fucking busted nuts over, and they were used a lot. He loved cutting people's eyes out and putting weird effects into their eyes, and there was like 3, like a glow effect that I actually recently looked into, and a couple others that were just like masking out the eyes and putting in like a kind of texturized, like, you know, somewhat 3D looking eyeball. And then there was one time when the kid didn't have any eyes at all. They just photoshopped the eyes like off completely
With anime hair.
Yeah, and yeah, they loved those shots a fucking lot. And oh my god, I gotta mention this. I'm gonna end it right here. The goddamn drone shots in this fucking movie fucking sucked ass. Don't do drone shots in your fucking movie unless you know what you're doing.
I will say, I agree. Whenever it's like landscape shots that, you know, would normally be in a helicopter or something, but when you are taking the camera directly down like the first shot did, a drone is a very like, it's pretty much the best way. I mean, I guess you could just get a rig and just point the camera down. Never mind.
You can do it, and like drones are great, but they did not use drone. Like there are 2 major.
I didn't like that shot, by the way. I'm just saying, like, I understand for that shot using it.
Like the biggest sin with drones today is you just can't move them. Like if you're gonna have you got up and down. Like that's the direction. Sometimes the pitch or the bow, whatever that's called, when the camera can pan up or down, sometimes that can be smooth in the different brands, but this one it drops down and it does like a weird like rotation thing, and it does not look great. Like you have to keep the shots super stable and still for them to have this like really nice like artistic quality to them, and they just look choppy and fucking like shifty, and you can like they did it in the wind. Like you can see the drone like move as it corrects its position. Like I just and they had one where it like snakes along as it follows these trucks.
I noticed that too. I was wondering what that was.
I did not like that one. It like had this weird, like it followed it, but it was like a time lapse shot, and it had this weird like crawling sound, like stretching or like digging through dirt or something like that, just like weird crunching. It was so fucking weird. I was not down with it. Anyways, that is my general analysis. Boom.
Yeah, I really didn't want to hate this movie. I've been wanting to enjoy it, and I tried to read the book. I knew the Kubrick stuff was coming, and I was like, whatever, hopefully it's good. And, right off the bat, it just starts with the Warner Brothers logo, the original Warner Brothers logo, and plays the classic theme of The Shining, and it's just like, right off the bat, it just turns me off when it's relying on that, because...
Yeah, they had a scene that was in the office from the original.
All right, wait, hold on, let me go. So it starts like that, and I dug the opening scene a lot, and I thought that scene had the best cinematography in the whole movie. The color grading, especially, like the greens and blues they were using, was just gorgeous. Not the drone part, but after that, it was fantastic. When the little girl's at the river and stuff. I didn't care for the scene, and I thought it was kind of funny that she wouldn't scatter after a person arriving. But like I was enjoying it, and I was very like, oh, this is nice. Let's see where this goes.
Well, Rose the Hat's also a pusher.
Yeah, and I liked the actress and all that, and I was digging it. And then it cuts to a shot from The Shining, from the movie, like an actual shot, and does the title card Doctor Sleep over the original like Stanley Kubrick shot, and then dissolves to Danny. Fucking they recreate the scene right before he meets or goes to room 237, and it's just like it's so like, to me it's very Gus Van Sant Psycho. He did a shot for shot remake where he recreated everything, and it's like this like
that kid was really slow on that three-wheeler. Like, the original kid was way faster.
Oh yeah, and they like pick and choose when they want to recreate and when they just want to straight up fucking use Kubrick's movie in it, and it's really weird. And so, and I was trying so hard. I was like, it's they're gonna reference Kubrick, just like focus on the story, and I'm focusing on the story. And the big thing that just every time shattered my soul were the dissolve edits. Because Kubrick loved using dissolve edits, and he knew when to use them. And he uses them a fuck ton in The Shining. And it's basically to convey just like the dread, and that it's all just like continuously going. And in this one, it's just dissolving to what the fuck ever the next scene is. And it's just like, it's a small thing, but every time it just chipped away at my soul. Every dissolve shot, there's fucking like 10,000 in this movie, and I would say like one out of every 10, I'll be generous, 1 out of every 10 Kubrick would approve of. There were some creative dissolves that they used that were effective, but most of them were just there because they were in The Shining, and it really inhibited the editing and the creativity for me. And and I was enjoying the story overall. My favorite scene was when Rose goes into Abra's mind for the first time and her hand gets caught. Ooh, I fucking was touching my hand during that. That was the only time the movie genuinely, all the other jump scares and stuff and, cringe moments, they didn't really get me, but that one did. That one really did get me. I loved it. But, and so, at first, most of the movie, I was like 6 out of 10. I was like, we don't normally like to give numerical, but if I had to, that's what I'd put it at. I was like, this is a good, like, well-made movie. I just really don't enjoy how much, like, it's doing the Kubrick thing. And then once it got to the Overlook Hotel, everything just, I lost my shit. I couldn't handle it. I really couldn't handle it. I was trying to watch. It sounds so stupid, but I love that movie, The Shining, so much, and like, it's just a bastardization of it, and it's just, fuck. I couldn't help it. I like when it showed like a wannabe Jack Torrance doing the like, give me the bat, and like, I screamed fuck you. I couldn't help it. I really couldn't. I was holding it in, I was trying to pay attention, not talk, and just like I unleashed the fury. It was so horrible. I couldn't believe it. And my least favorite of them all is the actress who plays Wendy. It is just a parody caricature. And like, Matt, you were talking about how you didn't think she did a good job in the movie. I think this woman's performance in Dr. Sleep proves that Shelley Duvall killed it in The Shining, because this woman is no, dude. She did an SNL fucking let's do a sketch parody. It was fucking like the facial expressions when it recreated her, like, oh, and like it was not half as good when she was like, Doc, are you okay? Just being a mom. I felt like she was an actress acting, and not a mom being a mom like Shelley Duvall. Like, I hated every time. There was one time where her voice sounded like Shelley Duvall when she was like, Danny, what are you doing? That was the only time. And even then, it's just like, it's an impersonation. And it's like, oh, man. And to recreate those scenes and like, it just feels shameless. The movie didn't need it. And
yeah, I agree with that.
It didn't need it. The whole time I wanted a straight adaptation. My hope was that they adapted Dr. Sleep as is and used recreations of the book to establish that it's not Kubrick's version. Like, show that Wendy's blonde, show the mallet, show the Overlook burning, that Dick Halloran didn't die. Like, deliver exposition that's like, it's not Kubrick's version, and the audience will still enjoy it. They might even find it more interesting, might go read the book. Like, I would totally be down for that, and that's kind of what I wanted, but, like, this movie is just, like, it's doing the fucking, I hate using this word. I try not to, out of my criticism, but it's doing the fucking nostalgia thing. Like, my God, 100%. It is, like, member fucking Shining. Like,
Well, what the real kick in the balls for me is that the story itself is strong enough to stand on its own that you don't need to ride the coattails of the fucking Shining at all.
I want to
They didn't
see.
need any of that in it.
I want to see an edit without any of the Shining stuff. I mean, obviously it's impossible. Major plot points would be missing, but like as much as possible, like the Danny riding to room 237, cut that. Any of the cutbacks to Red Rum and all that, cut that. Like I would really appreciate an edit. Maybe get rid of some of them dissolves, clippity clip, like pick and choose. Like I hope a fan does like a D Kubrick edit of this movie. Because I think I'd really enjoy it. I really wanted to. Like, I really hate to be so negative about it. I know a lot of people are going to love it, and that's cool. More power to them. But, like, I think casual Shining fans will be down with it. But if you fucking love Kubrick, and The Shining is one of your favorite movies, and you watch it over and over and over again, and, like, every time it just blows your fucking mind, and, like, it's just... you're going to be really disappointed. Maybe not, though. I was. I guess that's all I got to say.
I do have one spoiler alert.
I mean, we're pretty much
spoilers.
Yeah, that's just what our channel is at this point.
This is a spoiler that they left out of the whole fucking movie. That explains the actual
connection. Book spoiler.
Yeah, book spoiler that they left out of the movie. The explanation for any connection between Dan Torrance and Abra Stone.
Yeah, what the fuck? It is just like, hello, hi.
And you notice how she calls him Uncle Dan?
Yeah.
That's because her mother is Dan's sister.
Yeah, so, yeah, I'm sure there's all sorts of character stuff that wasn't thoroughly developed, unfortunately.
It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense without that at the end. I was kept waiting and waiting and waiting. I was like, you fucking kidding me? There at the end, too, she's like, Mom, wait. I'm like, she's going to tell her that she already knows. And she's going to let her mom know. Her mom's like, what? Like, no, they just totally cock teased you right there. You're like, oh, you bitch.
So, should they go back and put some CGI smoke in Dick Halloran's mouth when he dies? Or what do you think?
Yeah, I forgot to mention that in my effects review. The fucking smoke coming out of people's mouths and the steamy thermoses. Ooh. Okay. Okay. So we've been in this review for about a half an hour now. I want to talk about specifically the Overlook, the stuff at the Overlook, like when they showed up there.
Great party, isn't it? I'm acting.
Okay. So firstly, for me, there were some parts in the hallways that did not look like it was shot at the same place. Like, it did not look like the hallway that led into their room and whatnot when, like, it was going to the doors and things like that. The floors were not the same.
Yep.
Like, you know, it seemed like the first floor, like when they're on the first floor, that stuff looked good. They were either able to do it there or do a recreation, but some of the other stuff, it felt like they built sets or something like that. Maybe it just looked different and whatnot, but the carpets looked different to me.
My
the
favorite was
walls
the
and
blood
the
elevator
decoration.
with all this CGI detail on the wall.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just felt like a lot of what they did, like I don't know, when we did our Q&A with Leon Vitelli, there was a lady there who talked about how Ready Player One was a bastardization of Kubrick, and I honestly enjoyed watching that more than I did with this.
And you know why? Because, first of all, the footage they used were deleted scenes. They used footage that wasn't in the movie. Not only that, but I'm pretty sure, if I'm wrong, please tell me.
Correct.
I really appreciate when people tell me I'm wrong. I do, I promise. But fucking... and they did their own things with it. They didn't just shamelessly recreate every scene. They paid homage to it and worked it into the plot and gave it purpose and meaning. And yeah, if people got pissed about that, I'm curious how they'll react to this.
Yeah, because Doctor Sleep does not do that. It takes shots directly from The Shining.
It does both. It recreates and takes shots. It's just like, wow. The Jack Nicholson dude, like, Jack Nicholson is.
Yeah, I mean he literally like they could have had it be him.
They were all like just character. It just reminded me of an SNL sketch. Just like except Danny. Danny was good. Little Danny, he really fucking. He wasn't as creepy. He wasn't as creepy.
I didn't like him at the beginning, but after that like first initial bit, he grew on me, honestly. Like the level of like, you know, when he learns about the box and it shifts back to like that like contrast of confidence. I feel like they did that really fucking well, and it kind of goes back to my comment about the display of power. They did an excellent job of portraying how strong an individual was in comparison to somebody else.
Yep.
And they did it a lot of times with, you know, I don't know, like, not to talk shit on Dragon Ball Z, but like Dragon Ball Z a lot of times will just have somebody go, the power, and you know, this does it in a way that's like actually, you know, good.
I
love Dragon Ball Z.
That's what frustrates me is it is a lot of good, and I know people aren't gonna be like me where they don't really give a shit about Kubrick's style and scenes, and they're gonna love it and enjoy it. And I really don't mean any disrespect to you, but like. I mean, we literally just saw it in theaters. I saw it in theaters for my third time. Probably saw it for my 50th time.
They did it for this movie, man.
I own it on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray. I even bought the 4K one. It's the first 4K movie I've ever bought.
Didn't they show a trailer for Dr. Sleep after it played, man? Like, they did. They were the ones that put The Shining on, man. Like, they did it themselves. It was all done to promote Dr. Sleep. Like, the reason that we don't like it is because of something they did. Like, what the fuck? Oh man, this movie, man.
I didn't want to hate it.
I didn't either. That's something I feel like we really need to get across.
Yeah.
We did not want to hate it. I love Stephen King stuff. I really do.
Yeah.
Shawshank Redemption is my favorite fucking movie ever.
And you know what? I've sucked Kubrick's dick in every single one of the videos I've made.
That's true.
Every one. All 4. We've made 4 little shorts of the Vinyl Word. Check them out if you want. And in every single one, I sometimes heavy-handedly reference Kubrick because I love the guy. However, I don't just fucking completely recreate his shots. I just like repurpose them and reuse them for my own art. Like, that's how you do a good homage. Like, all the best homages. Like, we were talking about The Lighthouse. When we left The Lighthouse, one of the first comments we said was, oh, it's so 2001. It's so The Shining. It's Kubrick as fuck. Because it's inspired and influenced by Kubrick. It's not just a fucking carbon copy and just like recreating shot for shot Gus Van Sant, like I said.
Yeah, man, I agree. Very well put.
All right, final thoughts. You two in the back. Sorry, we're kind of hogging it.
I'd say it's a decent try, but you know, like I said, the source material is strong enough that they didn't need to include anything from The Shining. If you can't remember what happened in The Shining, then don't go fucking watch the movie.
Great point.
Put that on the fucking box art.
Final thoughts.
Anything else, man? Keep going. If you got more to say, say it.
Just leaving out, like it tries to live up to the I don't know. It's like it's trying to be something it's not, and it should just try to be what it was supposed to be.
I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to watch it again at home. I'm not going to be able to do it in a theater. I need to be at home. I need to, be, in a... yeah, no.
I'll go see it if a pretty girl wants to go see it. Other than that, no.
But, yeah. No. I'm going to give it a second chance, but I'm
In a couple months.
I'm still going to... I guarantee, because I always enjoy movies I hate the second time. All right. So yeah, let's get into the trailers.
What about me?
Oh well, we've talked a fuckload, but go on.
Okay.
You got more? Do it.
I want to say my final thoughts.
Do it.
If this movie was a college project for somebody in film school to recreate a director's style, fucking 10 out of 10, they did it. Like hell yeah, A plus. Give them that degree because they killed it. But if we're talking about a movie with original concept and trying to build off of the legacy of another, it pretty much just tries to take that legacy and just dry hump it. And yeah, but yeah, go check it out. If you like Stephen King, go check it. It's cool. And yeah, don't get jump scared by all the loud noises.
Yeah. All right. So trailers. Dark Waters, based on a true horror story. What did you guys think of this?
Okay. When I first saw this, I was like, it's aliens. And then I was like, wait, it's not aliens. And honestly, at the beginning, I was like, I yelled out in the theater. I was like, you're Hulk, shut up. But at the end, it was like, oh, it's about DuPont, fucking corporate conspiracy, controlling the government, shutting down the people, and how lawyers are actually our friends.
And I really I really like, because it's from the people who did The Spotlight and The Post, which are good movies, but they're very just they're I don't know, they are just dramas. They're just straight dialogue driven, bare bones drama, and a lot of people get turned off by that. And this one's just making it a horror movie.
Wow.
And I really find that interesting. I don't want them to take too many liberties. I still want them to tell an accurate story, but we're so used to based on true stories using romantic or comedy framing devices all the time. Why not horror? Why not frame a real event and shoot it like a horror movie? I don't know. This could be good.
I'll give it a shot. I'll watch it.
Yeah,
Well,
Hampton.
I mean, on that thought, I think that what he stumbles onto, these types of conspiracies, and the fact that he's part of it kind of is a horror. It's kind of a...
It is.
He sees the horror in it, and he's able to detach himself from it. And it seems like a tale of redemption and horror. I think it's going to be a really good one. I'd like to see
But
it.
even then, though, even how horrible it is, they totally could just shoot it in a normal style. Oh my God, they're infecting. Look at these people. Ba-na-na. No, isn't it sad? But this one's isn't it fucking horrific? And
this cute little girl.
and yeah, I'm very intrigued by this.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming out at the perfect time too, when there are a number of government and corporate conspiracies that are just swimming around the social media news and meme area. Something specifically about a guy who may or may not have hung himself.
You know what else is being framed as a horror movie?
What?
Fantasy Island.
Fantasy Island.
Fantasy Island, dude.
That was so
Do you know about Fantasy Island?
I've never seen Fantasy
Yeah, I've
Island.
never
I
been.
got no fucking idea what it's about.
It's a classic show from the 80s.
Sounds like the Bachelor, Temptation Island.
It basically is. And people go in, and then there's this suave guy, and then he's got his dwarf friend, and he's I think he's from the Philippines, and
Is
he
that
and
the little tattoo?
yeah, tattoo, and he just he had his catchphrase, "De plane," and yeah. And it was like a stupid ass show, but it's like kind of a meme. And
What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
dude, I'm talking about Fantasy Island, man.
Talking about the plane.
So I'm the odd one out here. I'm the one who doesn't fucking know what the fuck you guys are talking about. All right.
Check it out. Fantasy Island.
Okay, well, we don't have enough time in the video to.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's 70s. Sorry, my bad. Oh, it ran through the
It's
80s.
definitely not a
So,
horror movie.
so now they're making it a horror movie.
Now it's a horror movie.
Dude, what the fuck?
If you don't believe us, Fantasy Island.
It's a fucking
What's
Ling
your
Ling,
fantasy?
dude. Fucking Ling Ling.
It looks like Wang Wang, but it's not. See, you know Wang Wang. That's more
Fucking
obscure
Wang,
than Riz.
fucking Wang Wang.
Okay.
Ling Ling.
Wang
Jesus.
Wang.
So yeah, Fantasy Island is a horror movie. What the fuck? But it's Blumhouse, so I'm suspicious. But like, it's like that's weird. I gotta, you know what? I'll give it a chance. I hate Blumhouse, but
Are you gonna?
that's just weird.
Bumped
It's
up a
I think
Fantasy Island
it's
TV
kind of bold to fund that concept. Like, what if Fantasy Island was a horror movie? Yeah, man, I think it'd be good.
Like, oh yeah.
They'll put asses in seats for sure.
Yeah, asses and fucking seats. Okay, we've talked about Like a Boss.
Yeah, The Invisible Man, the next Blumhouse remake.
Oh,
They're
you mean Hollow Man
remaking
2?
everything. Hollow Man 3 because Hollow Man 2 exists.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So The Invisible Man.
It looks aight. It looks like it could be a like big budget Lifetime movie, or it could be all right.
Well, yeah, it's like because I've never seen any of these movies that they're remaking, but it's like teetering on like, is this girl being haunted or is her boyfriend in cahoots with basically Rick from Rick and Morty
Yeah.
to make himself invisible?
He
so
better
he
have good
can, like,
motivation.
torment-
Stalk his
What about the
girlfriend.
original?
Yeah, it's like what like is that like the real thing? Like he, you know, like nobody, like he's there in the room and nobody just so happened to like sit in the chair he happens to be sitting in and be like, what the fuck is that? And then like they throw some flour on him or something.
Give her $1 million.
I don't know. It's
Or
like
$5 million.
$5 million. Okay, yeah, great. It's like he gave you $5 million.
Yeah,
He's allowed to be
that's
invisible
what I'm saying.
in your house
I'm
and
just-
stalk you and fucking whatever.
I'm confused about it, but that actress is really good, and
yeah.
she might have signed up for something good or something terrible. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'll check it out. It's basically The Invisible Man came out a long time ago, but it's kind of a remake of Hollow Man, but
Yeah.
from the perspective of Elizabeth Shue. Birds of Prey. Holy shit, I'm stoked for this. My God, I get so excited for this.
I have not seen Suicide Squad, but I did not see a Jared Leto credit in that fucking title, so
because they broke
hell
up,
yeah.
dude.
That's the one thing. If Suicide Squad didn't exist, I'd be like, Birds of Prey is going to be a masterpiece. But Suicide Squad exists, so I'm like, it might not be. But
Pump the brakes
I'll
on
watch
that
it
one.
regardless.
It
just 'cause
might
it's a
be.
DC
Sister
property.
Act.
I'm so stoked for that fucking movie.
Yeah,
It looks fun.
Mampton's a comic book like fiend.
Yeah, he's the DC.
He's all about them hero, anti-hero comics and shit, and so
DC.
yeah, I am not surprised that you're stoked to go see it for sure.
Yeah,
Dude.
I'll watch it.
Dude, Margot Robbie, she's going to kill it. She's great.
Like just so everybody knows, Matt could literally start his own channel where he does nothing but talk about like specific individual characters in incredible detail of specific DC comics, and they could be obscure as hell, and this guy's gonna know about them. Like it's kind of frightening sometimes.
Send us your requests.
It's frightening to be in here. In my mind.
All right. Mampton, Birds of Prey, as the DC guy. What you got?
It looks interesting. You know, they're branching out. They're giving more people different movies, and as long as I mean, DC's furthering their, well, I wouldn't say pantheon, but they're just they're putting more movies out there, and I support that. More DC movies, the better.
Damn
They
right.
can only get better from there. I mean, Aquaman Wonder Woman 1984 is coming out this next year. I'm stoked. Yeah.
I mean, from Joker, they can only go up. Don't dislike the video for me saying that.
Just Mercy. Looks like it could be compelling courtroom judicial drama, or could be lame Oscar bait.
Yeah, it looks like Oscar bait to me, but
It's got a great cast.
The last bits of the last few movies that have come out with super diverse casts have been very, very good and well received, and so I will most likely go and see it. I mean, I love Jamie Foxx. Like,
Jamie Foxx is excellent.
I didn't know he was
totally
the same
down.
age as Michael B. Jordan.
You mean
This-
Nick Cannon?
This is one of our longest fucking reviews we've done, so peace the fuck out. Go watch Doctor Sleep unless
And then sleep it off.
you don't want to. I don't
Yeah,
know.
sleep it off. Definitely. Don't go to a matinee
Watch
show.
it twice, then
You
call
know,
me in the morning.
don't go to a $12, $13 show. I don't think it's worth doing that. If you've got unlimited, check it out. It's worth the sit down and watch. If you're a Stephen King fan, it's worth the watch. I mean, I don't regret coming to the theater and checking it out. You know, we do it for immediate review, but I do enjoy the time in the theater. Yeah, you know, like we're living the dream. Living the dream. Dr. Sleep. Go check it out. We'll see you guys next time on immediate review.
Just add water.